Hi, I'm Sean Reardon, Mayor of Newburyport, and welcome to the latest edition of the Mayor's Corner. I'm back at the NCM Hub this week, all right, 2 weeks in a row. I can't say enough about the team here. Again, they're at all of our public meetings. They're actually going to film our presentation on the Newburyport Recreation Center that we're doing tonight at City Hall. So again, you're probably going to see this. It's too late. They're going to record it. You can go to their YouTube station, PortMedia, and catch it once they post it after the meeting. But NCM Hub is just always there for anything in the city, and I really appreciate everything they do for me, especially my man Ryan and the Mayor's Corner each and every week. So what's going on in Newburyport? We've had a couple weekend storms, right? I mean, I think we had a really mild winter last year, right? We got a little bit in March, but pretty much, it was pretty much a quiet season. My first year in office, we had a bunch of storms in January and all the way through the winter. So we're starting to get some in Newburyport, right? We got quite a bit of snow last week. It was followed up by another storm a couple days later that was rain. And then this past weekend, we had an unusually high tide, which I say that, but they're becoming more regular, right? So it's not as unusual as we think it is. But this was not even predicted by MEMA, which is the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency. They look at these things, right? And we get updates. Our police, fire, our emergency management team gets updates through them during storms, right? And so they weren't predicting the high tide that we got, right? There was about 3 feet of storm surge added on to the tide they got, which again puts you over 12 inches. So that's what happened, right? We had a massive high tide, and you saw effects of it all over the city, right? I've heard of flooding of basements, and if you saw Newbury, the Newbury part of Plum Island, all the way up to the Point, Reservation Terrace. But then we also saw massive flooding on the basin side, right? Old Point, High Point Road. Huge damage to a lot of residents. So again, very concerning. We did put out some information from MEMA. You can actually file claims directly through them for the last 2 storms. If you had any kind of damage. So that information can be found on our social media sites, but it can also be found right at our website, and that's cityofnewburyport.com. But again, please reach out. Like I said, I want to get residents the right information so they can pursue what they need to pursue to help get their homes back up and running. I mean, we have some residents that still have no power, no heat. Water filled up most of their first floors. So really scary, especially these are parts of the island that didn't typically get water, or people don't ever remember them getting water. And then we also had flooding all the way down the Merrimack. So very concerning. So anyways, I applaud my DPS, my fire, my police. Harbor Master Paul Hogg chased down some docks that broke free and was floating down the river. So we had a lot of great collaboration. We also worked really well with our neighbors in Newbury, particularly around Plum Island, shutting down the turnpike, but then also assisting with residents, pumping out homes, things like that. So again, shout out to all of our first responders and DPS for working together and weathering that storm. And so we'll continue to try to get the right information out to residents. And we actually had a debrief earlier this week and just talk about what different ways can we get words out to residents in real time, when these things happen, when we weren't expecting the high tide that we got. How do we turn around and get that information out to residents? So we did talk about that this week. I got to do a pretty cool thing last night. I went to the State of the Commonwealth address. It was Governor Maura Healey's first State of the Commonwealth, and it was really just a great to be a part of. The governor and the LG, Kim Driscoll, invited all the mayors in prior to her giving her address. We actually got to go to the ceremonial governor's office at the State House, and it was just great to connect with other mayors. We were able to talk directly to a lot of the cabinet of Governor Healey, and we got to talk to the LG and the Gov too, right before this really momentous and historic event and this massive speech that she had to give, and it was just great. And then we all got to sit together up in the gallery and watch it, and there was a lot of great information. So I think more information around what she mentioned in that speech will trickle out to cities and towns, but there was a lot of good things in there that I think will directly impact Newburyport, and hopefully we can access a lot of the funds that she was talking about last night moving forward. But really cool to be a part of. And it just got me thinking of in a little over a month, so February 28th, which is a Wednesday, we're going to have my second State of the City address here at City Hall. Not here, I'm at NCM Hub, but it will be at City Hall. And that same night, we'll do our Community and Public Service Awards. And I mentioned this last week, but I'll just mention it again. Our Lieutenant Governor, Kim Driscoll, will be in attendance and speak that night too. So we're really excited about that. But mark that on your calendar, February 28th, State of the City address. So I hope to see you all there. Just a reminder, I'm not doing office hours tomorrow, Friday. As you know, I do office hours every Friday from 8:30 to 10. Anyone can stop in and get your 5 minutes with the mayor, talk about a problem or a challenge, or even just tell me if I'm doing an okay job. But I can't do it this Friday because we have the Massachusetts Municipal Association 2-day conference. All right, it happens every January. So I'm going to be there on Friday and Saturday. And there's a lot of great workshops. We have some department heads going in. I think some city councilors are actually going to go in. But it's a great opportunity to kind of network with other communities, other leaders, other department heads, hear directly from people in the field. So I'm really looking forward to it. I look forward to it every year. There's a lot of great speakers as well. I have a mayor's meeting on Saturday with our federal senators, Warren and Markey, which is always a good event. So I'm looking forward to it. So again, that's why I won't have office hours tomorrow, but next Friday they'll be back on usual time, 8:30 to 10 at City Hall. So we have a big vote coming up on Tuesday. So this is my last Mayor's Corner, and I know you have been listening to me. Those of you that watch these have been listening to me talk about Whittier for about 6 months now. But it's all led up to this point, right? We have a vote on Tuesday, January 23rd from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. For the most part, all the same polling places, and I say that because we have something that we might have to change for Plum Island residents, but we will get that out to residents Friday, and then hopefully it'll be in the paper Monday if we do have to change that. But for everyone else, it's going to be the same polling locations. Again, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Those are weird hours, so I want to say that again on Tuesday, January 23rd. Newburyport is one of 11 communities that feed into Whittier, so that vote will be happening in all of 11 communities at the same time. And there's been a lot of talk around this, right? And so what I've been trying to do for the last 6 months is just raise the level of awareness to this project. What would it mean for Newburyport, and what would it mean for the other 10 cities and towns that make up the Whittier School District? Just to recap real quickly, it's a $444 million school project that Whittier School District is proposing. They entered into the Massachusetts School Building Authority program. They got a design approved in December, and then once that design is approved, then they voted to have a majority vote in all 11 cities and towns, which means they're going to add up all the votes from the 11 cities and towns, and if the yeas have it, then they're agreeing with that project, and if the no has it, that's going to stop that process, and Whittier's going to have to reassess what happens next. Everyone knows my position about this. I've been very outspoken against this project from the beginning, and it has nothing to do with Whittier and what they do. I think they're a great school and they provide great education to kids. My problem from the beginning was, how can you have a project so expensive but not involve the 11 cities and towns that have to pay for it in any kind of the planning? Essentially, Whittier was able to go off on their own and develop their dream school with no kind of input about how it's going to get paid for. And that's really important with the vote, right? Because no matter what happens on Tuesday, there's no funding mechanism attached to that vote. So again, what a yes and no vote means. A yes vote means that you are 100% on board with that $500 million school, okay? Now, if that passes, then now all 11 cities and towns have to figure out how to pay for it. So it's not even as simple as saying like, oh, my taxes will go up this much and I'm okay with that if it passes. Because we don't know if we have to go to voters after this, whether it be this year or next year, for a debt exclusion just to pass this Whittier vote, which I said $30 million is our bill. And then if we do have to bond for it, it's going to be over $60 million for 29 kids over the 30 plus years of the loan. It's not just about that, right? Because it's about what can we, this wasn't in our pipeline of plans. So how do we, it's like you have a credit card. This could max out our credit card when we have a lot of different things that we already have planned that we wanted to do in the city on our own capital improvement plan for the next 5 years. So that's basically where we're at. So I would say if you're still on the fence or you're still thinking about it, reach out to my office. I'm happy to talk about this. This is all I've been talking about essentially for 6 months. We also have a lot of information on our website. Go to cityofnewburyport.com. It's important to bring up too, the Yes campaign for this Whittier project is being funded by the company that would benefit the most financially by building this school. That's really important. So like the information you're getting in mailers, again, after this, we don't even know how much money they've raised on this. It's probably hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, the mailers that have been coming out, I think we've got 3 of them so far, the text messages, the emails, those all cost massive amounts of money. And we don't even know where that money's coming from. But we do know that the Yes campaign is being run by political consultants hired by the trade unions and the Consigli company, construction company, who are going to build this $500 million school. So just think about where you're getting your information from. I think the 11 cities and towns have done a great job trying to pool the amount of be consistent about what the information we're trying to share to residents, which is why I'm encouraging you to go to cityofnewburyport.com, go to the Whittier page, go to the mayor's office tab, go to the Whittier page. We have some great information there. And just ask around, because I just think that the impact of this project could be really crippling for cities and towns. And this is not just a Newburyport problem. We are all grappling about how to pay for this. And again, you're talking about so few kids coming from a lot of these smaller towns. And again, it would affect the way we do business for years to come. So just think of that, and please, if anything, just get out and vote on January 23rd. If you're a senior out there and you need a ride to the polls, our Council of Aging is going to arrange rides for people. Just call up the COA, ask for Rosemary. She's signing up everybody for rides, but we're happy to do that. We want to get people out and vote. We don't want access to the polls to be a reason why people don't get out. So we're happy to give rides to the polls, and the Council of Aging. Thank you to Sarah Landry and her team for doing that. And finally, tomorrow night, I'm calling the game with my dad up the high school with PortMedia, NCM Hub. It's going to be the Newburyport Clippers boys basketball team against Pentucket. The Clippers have been playing great lately. My dad and I are doing the game, but we're going to have a special guest in the booth with us. Theo Novak is going to be there. He's a student here in the Newburyport Public Schools. His family was the auction winner for a basketball game with the mayor. So we're excited that he's going to join us tomorrow night. And just thank you to the NEF. It was such a great idea to put an auction item up like this. And thank you to the Novak family for giving to the NEF. All that money goes right back into our schools. And that's our Mayor's Corner. So go Clippers, get out and vote on January 23rd, and I will see you all next time on the Mayor's Corner.